Good evening. We are going to call the November regular meeting of the Verona Zoning Board of Adjustment to order at 7:33 p.m. on November 13th. Madam Secretary, would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Secretary, would you please read the notice of this meeting and call the roll?
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied with respect to this meeting of the Township of Verona Board of Adjustment, which is being held in person in the ballroom of the Verona Community Center located at 880 Bloomfield Avenue, Verona. The time and date of this meeting were included in the annual meeting notice posted in the Community Center and sent to the official newspaper of the Township, the Verona Cedar Grove Times, at least 48 hours preceding the start time of this meeting. The agenda and instructions on how to comment will be provided at the appropriate time. All meetings are recorded. Those wishing to speak during any public comment period should only provide their name and municipality. Street addresses are not required. Please be advised that should a member of the public choose to state their street address, it will not be redacted from this recording. Mr. Tully?
Here.
Dr. Rees? Here. Dr. Cortez?
Here.
Mr. Ryan?
Here.
Mrs. Murphy-Braddix? Mr. Mathewson?
Here.
Mrs. DiBartolo?
Here.
Vice Chair Weston?
Here.
Chair McGinley?
Here.
Board Attorney Macero?
Here.
Ms. Tanware?
Here.
Ms. Mish?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Start with some general information. This board deals with the issuance of variances from the Verona zoning ordinance. That ordinance establishes specific requirements for the land area in the township and regulates not only the uses permitted, but the size of the lots, setbacks required, parking, signs, conditional uses, and numerous other such regulations. An applicant is never entitled to a variance. Applicants must meet specific criteria contained in the state municipal land use law by satisfying certain legal standards of proof. The burden is on the applicants to show that they should be granted the specific relief requested. Depending on the type of variance requested, applicants will need to prove special reasons, undue hardship, a balance of benefits, and other criteria. These are legal proceedings. Public meeting notices have been published, neighbors have been notified, applicants and their representatives will provide sworn testimony and be subject to cross-examination. Any action this board takes at this meeting will be memorialized in a resolution document prepared by our legal counsel that will be reviewed and adopted typically at our next regular meeting. At that time, any variances granted will become effective. That said, we are a board that conducts its business in a fairly informal manner. Applicants are sworn in, tell us what they want to do with their property, and what they are asking the board to do. Board members will question witnesses, and then members of the public may question those witnesses. At the conclusion of the testimony, members of the public may make a statement regarding the application. After closing the public portion of the application, the board will deliberate and render a decision. We are now on item E of the agenda, approval of minutes. We have 2 minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, October 9th and October 16th. I would point out that the October 9th minutes have had revisions on page 6 and 9 to the table since the copy that was distributed earlier. There are no other changes to the October 9th meeting minutes. I recognize that these are lengthy. They were distributed in advance. And for the record, we would acknowledge that. Okay, you got it.
I was recused for one of those, so does that disqualify me to? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 9th meeting.
okay, we have a motion.
I'll second.
Second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions? Got it? Okay. October 16th stands approved. Excuse me, October 9th stands approved. The minutes of October 16th, slightly more lengthy than the October 9th meeting, a week later, and these are as distributed.
I'll make a motion to approve these minutes.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Paul. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain, I wasn't at that.
Okay. Kevin and Genevieve abstain. I believe minutes of October 16th are approved. Resolutions. Resolution 2025-20, 544 Bloomfield Avenue, also known as 10 Park Place. Again, resolutions were lengthy and in this case, very detailed.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the resolution 2025-20.
Okay. Do we have a second, Edith? Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve the resolution which denied the variances. All those in favor, please say aye.
No.
Oh, wait.
Roll call.
Roll call vote. In this case, we're approving the resolution, so a yes vote is in favor of the resolution to deny. Got it.
Dr. Rees? Dr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy Braddix? Yes. Mr. Mathewson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBartolo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Weston?
Abstain.
And Chair McGinley?
Yes. Okay. By my count, that motion passed, so the resolution is approved. That is a resolution to deny. Okay. Resolution 2025-21, 271 Grove Avenue. This would be the Compound Fitness Center. This was an approval with conditions.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the resolution 2025-21 with the appropriate conditions that are listed in the resolution.
Okay. Do we have a?
I'll second.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are we going to use the roll call vote again?
Yes, please.
This is a motion to approve, so a yes vote is to approve the resolution, which approves the variances as conditioned.
Chairman, I believe you voted no on the, so you don't vote on the resolution.
Mr. Tully?
Aye.
Dr. Rees?
Yes.
Dr. Cortez?
Aye.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy Braddix?
Yes.
Mr. Mathewson?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Weston?
Yes.
Okay. If I'm counting correctly, that passed. So that is an approval for 271 Grove as conditioned. Okay, that brings us to 2025-22, 3 Claridge Drive, the Living Light Consulting. Another use variance with minimal modifications.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-22.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Paul. We'll do a roll call vote, since we're getting good at it.
Dr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy Braddix?
Yes.
Mr. Mathewson?
Yes.
Mrs. DiBartolo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Weston?
Yes.
Chair McGinley?
Yes. By my count, that vote passed. And that use variance is approved. Which brings us to our last resolution on old business, 2025-23, 546 Bloomfield Avenue. Wait. Yeah, 546 Bloomfield Avenue, also known as 10 Park Place. Just not to be confused with 544. Which is, yeah. Okay, this is also a resolution confirming our vote to deny the application, so there are an extensive list of considerations. And a motion to approve this resolution is a motion to approve that denial.
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
Okay, thank you. And roll call vote.
Dr. Rees? Yes. Dr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Mathewson?
No.
Mrs. DiBartolo?
Yes.
Vice Chair,
Excuse me, Mr. Matheson is not supposed to vote.
oh, sorry. Okay. Vice Chair Weston?
Yes.
Chair McGinley?
Yes.
And then I'm going to need Dr. Tully. Mr. Tully?
Yes.
Cover everybody who is capable of voting on that one. And by my count, that motion passed, so a motion to deny the variances has been approved. All right. That moves us down to new business, item G, and slightly less controversial, but Resolution 2025-24, designating the regular conference and legal meeting dates of the Zoning Board of Adjustment for the 2026 calendar year.
I didn't check, but I'm assuming these are still the second Thursdays of every month?
April 9th is spring break. Perhaps we should consider moving that meeting.
Can these be approved and amended as we get closer?
She gets really bent out of shape when we amend them, especially if we know.
We might amend more smarter, not harder. So
That's good that you came prepared with the calendars.
I'll be here.
So in April, the first Thursday
First Thursday is April 2nd, which is Holy Thursday, right before Easter. Then we have spring break, that would be the week after Easter. Then we have the 16th, would be the following Thursday. If you want to try for that.
Yeah, I'm available on, I guess what appears to be Holy Thursday.
Should we try with the 16th?
No, the
I'm
second.
available the first Thursday. Yeah.
I don't know if people were going away for Easter.
Everyone will have
Just
their
the
taxes
Catholics?
done. Just checking. Okay, so we are going to amend the schedule list to change April 9th to April 16th.
I think I have a problem with that. I wasn't prepared for a change, but I believe I may be out of the country, but change it. We'll deal with it. Yeah.
Okay, I need a motion to approve our resolution designating meeting dates.
Make a motion to approve with the adjustment for April.
Perfect. And is there a second? Second. Thank you. Okay, can we do this one? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Beautiful. Meeting dates for 2026 stand approved. Okay.
Can you be, just send us a revised list? Thank you.
All right. We have, under new business, application 2025-11, 24 South Prospect Street, has requested to be carried until the December 11th, 2025 meeting with no new noticing required. I'm guessing they have approved the delays and waived any of the time constraints.
That is correct.
Okay. We should probably vote to do that. I would entertain a motion to move 2025-11 to the December 11th.
I'll make that motion to move application 2025-11 to our regularly scheduled December meeting.
Perfect.
Second.
Move in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you.
Kathy, is there anything else on that meeting?
On December?
Yeah.
Right now, no, just,
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to have to recuse myself from within 200 feet of that property, so December 11th, I will, just to give you a heads up, I'll have somebody here for it. Unless you want me to break the rule.
No,
It's okay.
just making sure it's not the same attorney as the applicant.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, as long as you're still not on that side of the
Yeah,
fence,
right.
we're good. Okay. Thank you for the heads up. That brings us to application 2025-06, 33 Cypress Avenue. If the applicants, I'm guessing it's you, if the applicants would please come to the table, please remain standing. Our attorney will swear you in, and then you can sit down and get comfortable.
One at a time, please. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
And can you state your full name and address for the record?
Nicholas Stanlaw, 33 Cypress Avenue.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth?
Yes.
And state your full name and address for the record.
Lee Stanlaw, 33 Cypress Ave.
Thank you very much.
Please feel free to be seated.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, the applicant submitted an application that was deemed complete. Notice has been served properly, and the board may proceed.
Okay. If you'd be so kind, Mr. Stanlaw, as to tell us what the project is and what you would like the board to approve.
So we are requesting to build an in-ground pool in the backyard of our house. First, we just want to say that we do take these variances very seriously, and we have done everything in our power to make sure that we are compliant. But there are just some things that are not within our control. We did already address several variances, like the pool equipment location and the shed location. That has already been addressed. We are also switching from the French drain pipe to the Coltex system and removing the geotextile system from below the subbase as recommended. So in the plan, you can see that we are also using permeable materials to allow better drainage, so that won't affect our surrounding neighbors. These plans were already approved by our stormwater management engineers. So everything is good to go. Your approval will be the last step we need to get this pool built. The main variance we're asking for approval is the rear yard coverage.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You mentioned that you already addressed the setback and the
Right.
pool equipment. Is that reflected on the information that we received?
The plan should already reflect that we moved the shed from the right side of the house to the left side to accommodate for that variance. And we already spoke to Kathleen, I believe. She said that the pool equipment can't be 5 feet from the pool because that's a safety concern. It's electrical wires near a big body of water.
So as far as the pool equipment, there, in our code, it says that the pool equipment has to be within, I think, 5 feet of the pool. Since the electric code says that it cannot be within 5 feet, so we're working on changing that. So that's kind of like an automatic variance as far as, like, has to be granted for that. But I believe the pool equipment was also too close to the rear property line. So where the variance, as far as it being too far from the pool, is okay. The pad was proposed at 5.5 feet from the rear property line, which would still require a variance because the pad is not a patio. It would be the pad for the accessory structure, so it would still need the 8 feet. So the pool equipment still does need one variance. So the drawings that we have are dated 10/31/24. Was there something more recent than this?
This is the most recent one. The meetings kept like pushing back, so I think that's why it's dated last year.
What's that? Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. I believe there was a noticing issue on this, wasn't there? And then they had to go to
That's why it
engineering.
got pushed
Right.
back.
Yeah. So anything I had in the review letter, I had not seen new plans to review. So anything that is in the denial letter, I still show as if it's changed on these, it didn't come in for a zoning review, and I don't look at them again once they come to the denial. So whatever the shed is located in the denial, we'll have to see where it's been moved to on this.
I'm looking at the, I guess this is a very early from our engineer's report dated June 3rd, 2025. Are you familiar with that document from Boswell Engineering?
Yes.
Okay, where they listed I'll categorize it as comments or concerns. Is there any, there's 10 of them listed here. Is there any?
Yeah, that's,
In that?
we spoke with our engineers already, and they say they are doing what the stormwater management engineer is
So
recommending.
you would, if we approved it, you would accept anything that they recommended as a condition
Right.
of approval?
Yes.
Yes, all of those concerns were relayed to the pool company, and they said that they're willing.
They said
to
they would not have a problem. But
No.
as you probably saw earlier with resolutions, even when we approve things, we still have to stipulate any other contingencies
Right.
that
Right, yeah.
you would have to meet. So
Yep.
at this point, you don't have any problem with that?
No.
All those concerns will be met.
Mhm.
Okay.
Just one thing I can add to that, our office did review the stormwater calculations. There were just two minor comments, I think about the French drain and the permeable paver, which can be
Yeah,
addressed in
that's
a revised submission
Mhm.
that you're gonna make to our office.
So your office is now satisfied with the
Yeah, so we approved their stormwater calculations, it's just a few minor
few
comments.
tweaks?
Yeah, which can be addressed easily in the
Mhm.
revised submission.
Okay. So I just want to make sure we understand everything that you're looking to seek a variance for. So I am assuming you still need the variance for the maximum approved lot coverage?
And the rear yard coverage, I think that's.
The aggregate area covered by accessory structures in the rear yard?
Yep,
So you're still looking for those. The mechanical equipment will, I guess, is no longer needed.
Excuse me, that one, I believe it's still needed. Well, because our ordinance,
The 5 feet,
yeah, it's from the pool.
Yeah,
So
from the
it's
pool.
still needed because our ordinance doesn't reflect the change yet. So we still have to give the variance.
okay.
Okay?
So you're
But you're-
telling us how
you're-
we...
No, I'm telling you that our ordinance still reflects one thing, but the electrical code said something else.
Is addressed by the planning board?
We did, and then it had to go back. It hasn't come back yet.
Goes back to the council?
No, it has to go back to the, we have to go back to,
So it is with the council?
no, it hasn't gone to the council yet. We had to reword it to go back to the planning board, to go back to the council, to go back to the planning board.
This
So
is a revision to the ordinance we're talking about.
Right, so,
Okay. I think I understand that, but, okay. We'll keep the distance from the mechanical equipment to the pool, we'll put aside for now. Okay. So there's still needed, is there still a variance needed from where the equipment, the pool equipment is going to be located from the rear yard setback? Are you still seeking that variance?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, do you still have, so is the pool equipment moving from where it was presented on the plans?
To meet the variance requirements.
So
Right.
you are moving it so you no longer need a variance to the rear yard setback, or you're still seeking a variance?
We will speak to our engineer and see if we can meet the
Don't
variance.
need the first one. Mr. Weston, if I might,
Okay.
they will not be permitted to put the pool equipment within 5 feet of the pool by the electrical code. So they are not seeking a variance for that because they're not allowed to put it there.
But I'm sorry,
No, I understand. So to go back to so the pool equipment is only going to be one variance if granted, and it will be because it is only 5.5 feet setback where 8 feet is required. Yes.
I'm asking if that
That's-
is still the case.
Yes, that is still the case, yes.
Okay.
7, I'm sorry? 10 feet is required, okay.
Okay. All right. I believe it's the shed. Are you seeking variances for where the shed is going to be located on the, I think, rear yard setback and the side yard setback?
We moved the shed to where it should be, so I don't,
In the plan, so it will be relocated to an appropriate space.
When you say inappropriate, you mean compliant with the ordinances?
Yes.
So it will adhere to the setback requirements?
Yes.
Plan says 10 feet off the rear and 5 feet off the side.
But that's why I'm asking. So are the plans that we have out of date? Well, actually, I don't even know where the shed was or is on the plans that
One's on the
were,
right side, now it's on the left.
but there's no calculations as to where on the left?
Yeah. That's because they broke the shed back there.
But is it your testimony that the shed is going to adhere to the setbacks that are required, and therefore you will not need you're not required requesting variances for the shed?
Yes.
So, so just to confirm then, you are seeking three variances: the maximum improved lot coverage, the maximum aggregate area covered by accessory structures in the yard, and the pool equipment rear yard setback.
That's correct. And just to address the coverage variances on a personal level, my wife is a teacher. I'm a funeral director. I manage a funeral home in Lyndhurst. Just by the nature of what I do, it's often hard to get away from work sometimes, go on vacations. My wife is off in the summertime. We're just looking to have something nice in our home, so that we can enjoy the summer if my work schedule doesn't allow me to get away from work. So.
And Mr. Chairman, I always ask my favorite question here, but I know you had to notice all your neighbors. Have you actually spoken to them personally to let them know what you're doing? Did you get any feedback?
Yeah,
Obviously, there's nobody here, I get that.
They've
but-
all wished us luck, to be honest. Hope you get it, all good things from the neighbors.
Okay,
So.
and whatever pool rights they get, if we approve this, that's up to you.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, but with the rear yard coverage, I know that we're asking for a lot. I know we're asking for 34.4%, and the maximum is 15%. But when we bought the house 3 years ago, with its like pre-existing structure, it's already at that limit. So I feel like no matter what we do, we will be over that limit anyway. And then for the maximum improved, what is that called?
The maximum is gonna put us at
Improved lot,
41.1.
yes. And we're currently at 31.7, and we know that the maximum allowed is 40%. So if you just look at the overall picture, we technically only asking for 1.1% at our property. Giving the minimal increase, I feel like this is a very reasonable request. If you look at the plan, it is very modest. It doesn't encroach on anyone else's property or privacy. And you can't see the pool from in front of the house or around back. And we know that there are several houses down from our block that have like very similar structure, like the pool, the patio, the deck. So we know that this design is very like well integrated within the neighborhood. And I know it's like a big percentage of the rear yard, but there's a lot of like green space on the left side. So, like, we love Verona. We moved here to start a family, and this is really our forever home, and we just want to build something nice to enjoy with, like, our future kids and our family, really.
Can you describe, beyond the fence of your rear yard, what exactly is there on your neighbor's yard? And
So
then how far from there would you approximate to their house?
It's actually really far, because, like, all this space out here is their backyard.
There's a full yard space to
Yeah.
the next house.
So, like, it's not,
Would you say it's equivalent size to your yard?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm looking at your pictures here, which were labeled 1 and 3. So your yard is currently fully fenced in?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And obviously, you wouldn't be changing any of the fence, this fence to stay?
The fence will be as is, yes.
Okay.
Do you currently get any water issues after a storm?
No, we don't.
Does your neighbor to your rear get any water issues to your knowledge?
No.
So just to be clear, your property slopes backwards right now, slightly, right? And you're going to be regrading so that the top of the pool elevation is 98.3. So there will be a little bit of a drop. Is there like a retaining wall at the backyard there or
Yeah, the
something?
retaining
And then
wall.
can you describe what that is?
There will be a retaining wall built, incorporated with the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that, I mean, is it block, is it, and then you're going to have a fence in front of that, right?
The fence will be there.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I asked about the fences. There's a comment in here about the existing fence to be upgraded. What is that, Kathleen, was that referring to?
So that would be referring to the building code.
Our current code, so it's not a variance, as long as they comply to the code.
A locking gate, and that would be covered when they would go in for building.
Okay, because that's where I was sort of roaming around with the fence, but this clarified that, thank you. I'm actually looking at the original, Mr. Chairman, the original, I am a little bit confused with the back and forth as to what we still need a variance for, and what we don't need a variance for.
I can reiterate, just to make sure that I know my understanding.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm looking at the pool equipment section, I think.
We will need to approve variance B just from the nuance of what's required from electrical code kind of conflicts with our town ordinance.
Okay, so we still have to approve it, or not? You're shaking your head, Mr.
The variance, they will not, and the application has been revised to move the pool equipment outside of the 5 feet. So the variance, which meets the zoning code, which does not meet the zoning code, but because it will be within the rear yard setback, they need a variance for the location of where it is in the rear yard setback.
Which is, so the rear yard setback is item C.
Correct.
But item B, around the distance away from the pool, I feel like that's where you're either granting relief from the ordinance. If we don't grant it, then they can't meet the electrical code.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. But whether we grant it or not it doesn't matter if we grant it because it's unenforceable and it is not a valid ordinance. But you can grant 2 variances for 1 location. That would be the safest thing to do. The location is where 5.5 feet from the setback, and then 2 variances for 1 location. You can do that. Right. Okay, that's what you're saying in the beginning. I got you. Exactly.
Okay, so our current ordinance is in conflict with the building code.
Correct.
Therefore, the building code takes precedence over our...
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right, it's in conflict with the electrical code. So this was done in December of 2024, and we did not actually discover that our ordinance was in conflict with the electrical code until really this summer.
So they're still in the process, if I understood you before,
yes,
of amending the
it.
ordinance to correspond with the electrical code. Is that not
Yes,
your way of putting it?
correct.
Thank you, Mr. Weston, for,
We only got to...
understanding my confusion.
Oh, there's more.
And they're straightening me out.
We're up to C. As we previously stated, the maximum approved lot coverage is needed for variance.
Correct.
And the coverage in the, by accessory structures in the rear yard.
Correct.
How about the minimum side yard setback? I understand the shed was moved, but it appears the shed is on the same line as the entire patio. So it looks as though the entire patio on this side is within the setback. What are we calling that, the northwest side?
Yeah, when I look at the plans, the new location of the shed appears to be within the setback. It's still at 5.
You're talking about the shed on the left side, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm
so
talking
it's-
about the old shed on the right side. Seems to be in line with the patio.
Well, but that's got the
Patio can
location
be-
that's being relocated.
Okay, but is the patio
Patios can be
more
5
than
feet.
5 feet?
Yeah, patios can be 5 feet from the side,
Got it.
And it is.
Good.
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Shed still looks like it's,
It was, too close to
Okay.
start with, yes,
So this shed is moving.
to the other side. And then where it's being proposed is still too close to the side property line.
On the drawings, but they just
On the
testified
drawings.
that they're not
Moving.
seeking a variance
Right.
that will move.
Right, they're going to move it.
So so I don't know where they're moving it. It's not on the plan.
I agree, but we wouldn't, they're not
No.
seeking a variance, we wouldn't grant a variance.
No, they would have to come in for a permit for a shed. You'd have to come, yeah. So if we're taking it off the table on this, then you have to come in and submit a separate permit for the location of the shed. Okay, that complies with the ordinance and the setbacks. Okay.
Just one question while I'm looking at the plans. Is that box in the front of your property labeled AC, is that your AC unit?
Right here?
Yes, behind the bushes in the picture?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Is that something we should add to our approvals? Because you cannot have mechanical equipment in your front or side yards
You,
within
you,
the
you,
setback
you can, not within the setback.
and not in the front.
That is,
Just not new.
that's about 11 and a half from
I'm
the
just gonna
side yard
put it in.
setback.
I'm just going to add it to the list, so it's in there officially.
So it is not in the side yard setback, and it would have to be 30 feet from the front. You can have mechanical equipment in the front yard. The only mechanical equipment you can't have that we limit is a generator in the side yard.
Okay.
So you can have an HVAC or an AC unit in the front yard as long as it's within the 30 feet from the front and the side.
Okay. Keep tight, 32 point something.
We made it though, right?
Yeah.
He's giving out variances, so it just wants to give you a variance in case you need one.
We didn't put that AC.
All-
I'm assuming that there was approval for that AC. It wasn't part of this application, it was already there.
Yep, okay. And for the record, neither the town council nor the planning board has advised us to stop giving variances to people looking to put indoor pools installed pools in light of the fact that they're having a tough time funding the town pool.
Not under consideration.
Okay, I have a question going back to the retaining wall in the back. Mr. Matheson and I were just talking, what's the maximum allowable height without it being engineered?
3.
Hear the first part of the question.
Oh, it was just a preface to the question. So what is the maximum allowable height without it being engineered, a retaining wall?
So our office recommends the maximum is 3 feet at any height. If it exceeds that, we require stability calculations to be submitted by a licensed engineer. So I think for them, I think in the zoning denial letter, it says it was 3 feet, but when I looked at the plans, it was 3.8 feet high, right? So it does, so that could be, the board can consider it as adding as a condition of approval to have those stability calculations submitted.
The building department construction is, you have to go to get a construction permit if it's 4 feet from bottom of footing to top of wall. 4 feet and above has to go to the building department.
From footing or from grade?
From footing. That's what they go with.
Yeah.
Bottom of footing to top of wall.
Okay, so my next question is, we know that this area is prone to flooding. You're somewhat close to the Peckman. We've heard several cases that have, taken place in this area that have similar concerns. While you may not have experienced a whole lot of damage based on water, I'm wondering if you might be able to speak to the sizing of this system. Did they take into account, the fact that this could flood? Does this just meet the minimum requirements? And maybe Boswell had reviewed it too. But I have a feeling one day you might find a pool on top of your pool if we grant this. And I'm just wondering if that was, calculated.
Well, when we bought the house 3 years ago, we know it's not in the flood zone. And just going off of what Boswell said, we're taking all the precautions needed, so.
But those are the minimum, that's the minimum, they're meeting the minimum design criteria?
The minimum, sorry, what?
Design criteria for the size of these
Because it's
systems?
qualified as a minor development, yeah, so they meet that kind of criteria, whatever storage that they have to provide, based on
Okay.
the calculations, they meet that.
Okay, all right, so I guess maybe my recommendation is you might want to oversize it just in case. Because again, it's only been 3 years. We've seen this thing flood like there's no tomorrow, so just practice caution, that's all. And then finally, according to the Environmental Commission report, there is a tree to be removed. Is that accurate?
Yes.
It's not really a tree, it's like my height, like this. And we're removing it so that we can plant like a line of other plants in there, just to look nice.
Is that located on this plan somewhere?
The tree is not located.
Yeah, it's not on the plan, but it's almost more like a tall bush.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a tree, it doesn't have a trunk. If that describes it enough.
Is that in photograph number 1?
It may be in one of those photographs.
Yeah, maybe.
That's it, right in the corner there.
You'd be surprised what they categorize as a tree, but that's not the features.
Sarfina did just check to make sure the property is not located within the floodplain, so it wouldn't need a floodplain permit. Is the trunk of the tree less than 6 inches in diameter?
I believe it is.
Okay, so if it's less than 6 inches, then it can be removed without a permit, whether it's alive or dead, if it's under 6.
We can confirm that and take the appropriate action.
And I think it's actually 6 inches diameter at 4 feet, right, off the ground? Yep.
Not a trophy copy.
No. 6 centimeters.
Are there any other questions from the board of the applicants?
Just looking at the, following up on Mrs. DeBarlo's review of the Environmental Commission's submission. They're recommending, once again, moving the downspouts pipes on the home. Have you taken that into consideration at all? Would you, it's just my own
If
opinion.
it's something,
It's item number 7 in the report, if that's what I'm referring to.
it's something we would consider if we felt it was needed.
I guess right now they're.
I just wanted to add one thing about the drainage. So when I was reviewing the plan, the existing drainage pattern, like the slope of the site, it drops 5 feet. But I think the proposed condition, they're actually filling that area, so it is improving it. So it's not gonna be that steep, when the waterfall is not exactly, yeah. So just a point.
Can you describe, I think I read this somewhere, but I can't find the piece of paper right now, but can you describe the permeable pavers? What, what type of pavers they are, what percentage open they are?
The patio, like they designed us with like different kinds of patio where the water will seep through. So it's not just collecting water on the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look for. Don't worry. Is it somewhere in there?
On that topic, Ms. Tamer, the Environmental Commission wonders if the Cultex system should be moved further east on the lot to lower the elevation to aid the transport of the stormwater not being captured by the paver patio.
In the existing conditions, the site does slope down, but I think in the proposed condition, it wouldn't matter anyway because it's pretty flat in that area. So even if they have it in the location that they show it, I think it would be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
So the proposed patio at 562 square feet takes into account the fact that the pavers are pervious, pervious? Do you know the answer to that?
I'm sorry?
So the proposed patio at 562 square feet, does that take into account that these are pervious pavers?
Yes.
Okay.
So in our ordinance, we have no allowance for whether it's a paver or concrete, or it's 100% all the way through as far as coverage goes. Really? Really, yeah. Since when? Always.
Any additional questions for our applicants? Seeing none, just so that it's in the record, I invite the public to ask questions. The public has declined asking questions. At this point, I believe, since that was the extent of witnesses, we can ask the public to make a statement. The public has also remained quiet for making a statement. So at this point, we would move to board deliberation and discussion of the variances, which we have mostly nailed down. If we're all referring to the list that came on the agenda, I think we are now all up to speed on B and what will happen with an approval with B. We've eliminated D and E. So we are looking at A, C, and F.
And are we granting a variance for B, or we don't have?
We throw it into the mix for good work.
I think so.
I think we said it was going to be one variance that encompassed
Two
the
variances
two
for one
variances for
location.
one location. So yes, you are still
All right,
granted,
so-
if you wish.
A, B, C, and F is what we are voting.
Okay. This is actually the minutes.
Oh, the agenda.
Okay, so looking at them, oh, let's see. C is a pool equipment pad, which they said was going to be moved further than 5.5 feet from the property line? Was that one of the, that wasn't, okay, so we're looking at the equipment pad being 5.5 feet off the property line. Is that, and that actually is on the, the drawing. Is that a debatable issue?
So if we're talking about that individually,
Yeah.
I have no issue. There is the fence behind it, which will, reverberate some of the sound back into their yard. And there is quite a number of feet from their rear yard between, that and the house. So I don't think that the noise is going to be a inconvenience.
Okay. All right. So if there's no discussion otherwise, we can move on to A or F. A is probably easier. We're looking at a maximum approved lot coverage. Our rule is 40%.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry to derail your thought. I just sketched something and caught it. If we proceed with this retaining wall at the back and the top of the wall is at 97.5 feet, the fence is lower than that, right? So you have your pool elevation and your pool patio here, and then you have your fence that's down here. So you might be short what the requirement is for fences around the perimeter of the pool.
It's a 6-foot fence.
Right, but there is, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a building. So
Right.
the
Fence requirement around a pool is actually a building code and
Right.
not mine, but
Right, so if the pool's here, the fence is here, it's a 6-foot fence, but you might only be getting 2 foot of fence around the pool.
Right, which might be denied. You might need to increase the size of your fence, in which case, now we're looking at a very large fence.
right, you need a variance for that, because
Right.
6 feet is your max.
Right.
Right. And then the problem becomes if you put the fence on the wall, you can't have the combination of the wall and the fence be more than 6 feet unless there's 3 feet between the wall and the fence.
But based on, excuse me, but based on what you're saying, that's not for us to decide here?
Right, so when it would go in for building permits, if the building department deemed that the fence being down here, they may deem it okay because the entrance to the yard is at the 6-foot level. If they don't, and they say it's not, then you have to have a higher than, it depends how much fence is going to be up and what they require. So if they're requiring 4-foot fence and you've got only 2 feet, and they would look at it that way, then you'd have to have a higher fence.
I believe they would look at it as the fence around the pool concept is so people can't get into the pool, not can't get out. So as long as it's 6 foot from the ground, and on the outside, that's, they can get in.
grade on the outside. Yeah.
And it's far enough, I don't think they're going to leap into the pool.
Kids.
Cat light.
I think we might be good on that one.
I think we should let the building department have their say.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the
Also-
same with the height of the retaining wall, that's the building department, not us.
And note this did go to the building department for review, for the departmental review before it came here, and I don't believe we got anything back from them.
Okay.
So we could probably wind our way back around to the 40% versus 41%. That seems to be a close enough number. The exacerbation of our ordinances is in item F, where it jumps from 15% all the way up to 35. This lot itself is big for the zone. It's actually larger than the minimum lot size for the zone. So the percentages that are applied make the improvements, that allow the improvements to be that much larger, which is a consideration. Also a consideration, where this is located, I do believe we have had several applications come in on Grove and Ann Street that have had major concerns with water. And that direction, it's the same direction coming down that hill on its way to the Peckman.
I just have questions about what changed along the way that moved it from the 47.8 referenced here and here to the 41.1? I know that there was discussions about like something, but like just for my own mental note, where did that change happen in anything to get to that number that's referenced in the documentation that we have over here? Like I know like the environmental commission said like they had like a slightly different number,
Right.
and little things to be made to like adjust it, but
Yeah, but that's a big difference from what's on this set of plans to what's in our denial letter.
so the change was made to like drop down 6. That's great. I just don't know like what that change was.
What's possible size?
Good question. I used to rely on the environmental commission. They do a much better job. The environmental commission has tossed a third number in there. However, they seem to be considering permeable pavement having a 20% void area. So that might explain why their 46% is less than the 47% on the engineer's plans.
Yeah, so that I mean is a
Right.
pro. I mean, that's great. If there was a change somewhere along the way, that's all I wanted to know was just kind of factor that into positive.
It doesn't seem to be though.
We'd also have a change if the shed is not, we're not approving the shed, and the shed has been taken off here. How do we, because that changes the coverage as well. The shed being relocated, right? And they're going to have to put a permit in for the location of the new shed.
Gotcha. So the shed is reflected on here.
So the shed is reflected on here. So if we're not approving the shed, right?
But then they'd have to come back for a variance if they want to put the shed up.
Right, that's what I'm saying. If we're not approving the location of the shed tonight, and they come in to put, the shed in the location, then it triggers them, again, being over coverage and would require a variance at that point.
How much does the shed reduce, if you take out the shed, how much is it reduced?
We don't need a shed. We don't need to have it.
Where are you gonna
We
put
can
your pool,
remove it.
your skimmer, your floaties, your
If that's, we don't need.
lawnmower?
Put them under our deck.
No, but in all seriousness, if the shed is not included this evening, then the percent coverage needs to be reduced.
Right. Yeah,
Going to bury or turn that shed.
the shed in the ramp is 66 square feet existing.
Hold on. All right. The difference between the two numbers, the coverage of, that's the 47.8%, which is 4,014 square feet, compared to the 41.1%, or the 3,452 square feet, is the new proposed permeable patio. That is the difference. So it's a question is, if that permeable paver zone patio counts as part of the lot coverage or not. That's the difference.
So then our number should be 47.8 to match the plans?
That would include the pavers with the permeable.
That makes sense.
Permeable paver.
However, we're taking out the shed now.
The shed was included in, well, correct, but if with the shed, it's 47.8 because the shed is included in that calculation.
Take out the shed.
And what percentage do you have?
Wait, just one second. I think originally when we were discussing the shed, the concept was you were going to move the shed to comply. Whatever it took, if it had to be 10 feet from a property line and 10 feet from the rear, whatever.
Right.
That was the original, I believe that was the original discussion, was that we didn't need to give you a variance for the shed because the shed was now going to comply.
Right, if we're not giving the variance, it's going, you don't have to give, if we don't include the shed coverage and the location of the shed approval through here, even if we move it in to where it's still,
Right.
to where it's okay and it doesn't need a variance, it still would have to be within this coverage. If we don't do anything with the shed tonight, they can't come back in and have me approve the shed because they're already over coverage. So
Right.
if the shed,
But
the shed
Scott
has to either
Scott
be,
just did the calculations and said if we go with 47.8, that includes the shed.
right, but we need the location of the shed tonight to approve the shed.
Well,
You can't come back in later,
They could put a shed that complies with all the setbacks.
not if it's not on these plans. Because we have the shed, right, so the shed is included in the coverage, but the location has to be approved. So if they're gonna say the shed is going to be, comply, and we say, okay, then we have to put where the shed is going to be on these plans.
Couldn't we just put in the stipulation that the shed will comply and a
Accept it,
drawing will be
yes.
Yeah,
resubmitted?
so
And
that,
just get the approval?
this way
through
the
it?
coverage then,
Condition.
the coverage
The coverage
then will
is
be
now here.
included.
And the coverage is included?
Yes.
Right.
So then,
So we include the coverage, you can't change the dimensions of the shed, but
correct,
the location of the shed will have to come to zoning just for location
Right.
approval,
yes.
right?
Well, they wouldn't have to come in front of the board, right? They
No.
just go.
No, just
Yeah.
location approval by me, because you guys, as long as the dimensions of the shed don't change from what's on this plan.
Right.
They will.
Nailed it. Okay, so we changed the 41.1% to 47.8%.
But to what the VEC said is that the total amount of the patio shouldn't count because they're using permeable pavers.
Right.
That's their recommendation, that we don't count the totality.
That was the VEC. Well, wait, no, the VEC,
DEC said it shouldn't be counted in its totality because they're permeable. Is that how I'm reading?
I don't think that was it.
I think that 1224 includes the pool.
What the VEC did is they said, assuming the permeable pavement is maintained with a 20% void area, that assumption is not consistent with our rules for patios, which are square foot of the patio.
But it's still lot coverage, it still needs if they're permeable, Mr. Chairman, am I correct?
Well, they're considering holes in there as,
Yeah, that's why they got that.
Yeah.
They get the lower percentage of they're pressuring in like that.
right.
Yeah, it's still covering, it's still coverage, but it mitigates any kind of water issues.
Impervious coverage is different than maximum lot coverage.
Correct.
Gotcha, all right, now I'm tracking.
All right, so how do we stand on those two? Now that I think we've kind of grasped them.
Well, when you look at the, in totality, it's that, at 1% of overall coverage. I mean, I don't seem to have a concern like it.
This is incorrect.
This is total property.
No, Scott's done this. We're good.
So that's at the 48, okay, so that's.
Including the shed,
Including the shed.
47.8,
All right,
and counts the patio as no voids.
For which
so that we
calculation?
remove, like,
The maximum improved lot coverage.
Well, that's what the plan says.
Right.
Great calculation, Scott. That's what the plan
Well,
says.
he did it. He verified. He also compared it with the other three applications, or the other three.
But on the variance that we're looking at, this is a lesser amount.
That's why we put engineers on the
Right.
board and we don't put.
But to your point before, Mr. Chairman, about how we've seen other applications and how this area is prone to flooding, one of the considerations that I take into account is that this is kind of down gradient from
those.
from all of those. So if anything, you guys are going to bear the brunt of the issue if it continues to be an issue. So that kind of makes me forget about that.
There's
Because
only
they're
two
willing to take
properties
that
between
risk.
them and the river.
Right, it's really just like these poor people on Willow Terrace that might be affected, but, the greater part of the neighborhood is upstream.
Okay.
I don't have any issue with that, and with the maximum approved lot coverage, there are the permeable pavers, also the pool, while it's considered impervious, that does collect, some water and runoff. So I don't have much an issue with that. You did testify that they don't have any water problems. There is a bunch of space between your property and the rear, the property to your rear. And in terms of the coverage by accessory structures in the rear yard at 15%, I mean, just personally, I think that probably 90% of Verona homes probably don't comply with that. You put a patio out there, you're probably over the 15%. I think from your plans, it looks nice. I don't think it's overcrowding. I would be fine with the application as it was presented, as long as the shed complies.
Okay.
What he said.
Okay. Any comment, Edith? You can still, oh yeah, you can still comment.
I would approve this, I think it will bring some pleasure to your household. It's nicely put together.
Okay. Any other comments from the board members?
I concur with you.
Okay. Then I guess at this point, I would look for a motion
So,
with some detail.
yes, I will make a motion to approve application 2025-06 with the adjustments that the maximum approved lot coverage is 47.8%. For the issue with the mechanical equipment, with the 5 feet away from the pool variance, item B on the agenda, the variance with the 5.5 feet for the pool equipment from the rear property line, and the maximum aggregate area coverage by accessory structures in the yard at 34.4, 34.4%.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
If we could also add one of the condition of approval as the stability wall calculations that they have to provide, because their wall exceeds 3 feet, or is that something, I don't know.
Chairman, add the stability wall calculations.
And that they comply with the Boswell letter. It's just 2 minor comments that have to be addressed.
They would comply with the recommendation. And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, what was the percentage of the?
What was reflected on the plan?
That's 41%. And Scott said
37.8.
No, I got that one, and the second one you said was 37?
34.4.
And where is that number from?
That's
That
the
is-
rear yard.
From rear yard accessory structures. It's in the agenda.
That is, what's that?
F.
It's not in the chart. It's not in the zoning notes.
You have to add them.
It is not on the plan. It's in the denial.
It's in the denial letter.
15% of the rear yard.
Okay, fine, thank you.
So they're, instead of 15, they're at 34.4.
34.4 instead of 15. Does that include the shed? I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to get it
I
straight.
believe it does, yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay, because the plan says 41%. That's why I'm confused.
Correct.
And I just want to make the resolution correct.
Plan says 47.
No, it
No,
says
for
41.
accessory
For
lot
maximum accessory coverage in the rear yard, the plan says 41%. I'm not sure where the 37 has come
I
from.
wonder if that's the same permeable patio that was missing, the same 562 feet.
Yeah, the accessory lot coverage.
Well, because in,
Accessory, so I didn't know if I listed it.
I understand.
So with the 15%, it's the pool, the coping, the wall, the equipment. So actually, it doesn't include the shed.
Fine, thank you.
The shed was in the existing, and it wasn't in the proposed, so it should actually be more than 34.4. It should be 66 square feet. Instead of 683, it should be 683 plus 66. Should be 749.
And then, Mr. Chairman, I believe the shed could be relocated, provided it's within a setback.
As long as it complies.
But in the lot coverage calculations, the shed is there at 47
It's
feet.
pool and coping, so it's this plus 66.
And in the event any of these are off by more than 0.1%, it has to be removed. Okay, maybe not. Really, if you could just get rid of some of the other things in the
Yeah,
yard, it would
where
make
is
this
it?
much easier.
Like I said, we don't have to have
Right.
that.
Well,
It's up there, but it's way too
Very
long.
early on in the game. The shed is a want, not a need. That's
We're
the way
we're
it's
good.
started.
But they had a pre-existing
Well, we hadn't, that's a good question. We hadn't discussed
She was
that.
trying to help us out here, and we all refused to
That's it.
acknowledge that, but go ahead.
We work much better when it's just one variance required.
Understandable.
However, I would note for the record that none of the neighbors served within 200 feet have come to complain or exert any negative input, so. Okay, it sounded like Scott made a motion, and the conditions that were on there was that the shed roughly the shed complies, that the wall stabilizing calculations be included, and that they comply with the, Boswell, yeah, Boswell, okay, Boswell, comply with Boswell's letter. Are there any other conditions that Scott would accept to his motion? Seeing none, or hearing none, is there a second for Scott's motion?
I'll second.
Is that public stuff?
Well, we had public attend the meeting.
Oh, they're too late to make comments.
Okay, we still have a motion on the floor.
I will second the motion.
Thank you. Okay. Ooh, look at this. Now everybody wants a second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call vote?
Dr. Cortez?
Yes.
Mr. Ryan?
Yes.
Mrs. Murphy Braddix?
Yes.
Mr. Mathewson?
Yes.
Mrs. DeBartolo?
Yes.
Vice Chair Weston?
Yes.
Chair McGinley?
Yes. By my calculation, the motion passed. We'll have our council spend a great deal of time drawing up that resolution, and it will be on our agenda for the December meeting.
It'll be easier than the minutes.
And mercifully, you.
Good luck with your construction.
You're welcome.
The next item on the agenda, item H, do we see any need to go into an executive session?
I would like to propose that we do.
Okay.
Yes.
What is the topic of the executive session?
It is procedurally how can we address some of these issues that are coming up that do an undue hardship to the public and before a new zoning ordinance is adopted? Because there's a lot of contradictions, there's a lot of ambiguity. Case in point, just this.
That would not be executive session, that would be public.
We
Okay.
can discuss that as new business.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you like to
I share your
discuss?
concerns.
So, as a lot of you know, I do this for a living too. And so Verona has some hiccups that some other towns may or may not have. And it does, there are quite a few, like I said, contradictions. Is a deck an accessory structure? If it's detached, is it an accessory structure? If it's attached, then it's not. There's a whole giant bunch of disconnects. Things like mechanical equipment being 5 feet. I mean, enforcing that, have we really enforced that as of late? Not so sure. And it would be very it would be beneficial to the public if we can clarify some of those things before the re-release of a new zoning ordinance, which, we don't know when that's going to happen.
Just to provide some historical perspective, since I'm been sitting either on a planning board or the zoning board for a long time. Unfortunately, we're working off of, I think this is follow-up to your point, we have a master plan that was recently adopted, but it's still basically, then we're still basically referring back to ordinances that were adopted wholesale in 2011, okay? And apparently with this master plan, they just seem to be going along and updating ordinances as problems arise. I've had some individual discussions with Kathleen about this, just full disclosure, and I'm not breaking any rules because I didn't have a quorum of people, but in questioning her, and questioning some folks who were around when Greg, you may remember this, when the last master plan and ordinances were adopted, there was less of a gap, I think I'm being correct, between the adoption or the revision of the ordinances to comply with the 2011 master plan. Now we've got this, to me, an unacceptable gap between the adoption of the master plan, because just sitting here, a couple of times, the current master plan is not in compliance with the ordinances that we are still have on the books. So I don't know if we, as a group, can request an update.
The planning board.
From the planning board?
Has,
So what's,
anybody can suggest an
Right.
update, but the planning board is the body that is supposed to review ordinances, make recommendations to the governing body, et cetera. That is one of the defined roles of the planning board, is to be involved, and that's why the planning board has the mayor or the mayor's designee and a council person on the planning board.
and my understanding is, in having spoken to the deputy mayor, that they have retained the company, I believe, that drew up the master plan. They do have a group that is working on the.
I'm reviewing the
Ordinances,
ordinances, yes. And
okay.
in fact, I was in a meeting today, and draft ordinances are supposed to be, they're being worked on, and hopefully by January, there will be some revisions. Now, because come March, there's also some big affordable housing issues, et cetera. So we're hoping to have some ordinances completed by January. Now, I don't know specifically, I think Sam is drafting them. And I don't know how comprehensive they are, but people are definitely aware. And I've said this before, I don't know whether people thought that I was joking or whatever. The ordinances that are in place now were a draft, and the draft was never completed, and somehow they got published. So a lot of the inconsistencies are because there was never and there was no justification done, comparisons between statutes and verbiage, et cetera. Somehow it got published and passed. So, that's what we've been working with for the last 14 years.
And the zoning board,
Well, it was voted on in a council meeting. I attend to that. Now, if you're saying that was improper at the time, I can't question that. But it was
Wasn't
voted,
improper.
yeah.
For some reason, I don't know whether that was when there was a change in managers, if there was a change in the governing body, or if there was a change in the town planner, if then Jason left. I'm not sure, exactly what happened, but I still have a version in my office where I have my handwritten notes for what has to be, what more modifications need to be. So I'm not sure, what happened, but.
and that was never reviewed by the zoning board.
Exactly, right.
So moving ahead, do we have an opportunity to weigh in on
It's the
these
planning
things?
board. The planning board has the opportunity, because the procedure is, when the governing body introduces an ordinance on first reading, and it has to do with land use, it then goes to the planning board for consistency with the master plan. The planning board makes a determination whether it's consistent with the master plan, sends that back to the governing body with recommendations on the ordinance. So that's the planning board's job, again, through the municipal.
But that doesn't necessarily,
Requirements.
Can you send them a recommendation, like, can we put together a
Yeah,
letter and
right.
send it to the planning board?
Absolutely.
right, because we're,
Smart, they would send us a copy to review.
right, because we're in the weeds here. I mean, we'd zero in on these minute little details that, these people are in front of us because of some silly thing that doesn't make any sense. Whereas, the compliance with the master plan, sure, of course, like, let the planning board do that, but we're the ones who are kind of looking at things with a microscope, and
One would also hope that when they're putting these ordinances together, most of you have been on this board much longer than I have, but I was involved in the planning board for 3 years. My other concern is, when we establish a number of conditions to these things, when we approve them, who enforces them? Right. That was evident in the compound, in the compound approval that we just went through. There's a whole string of things there, and, you folks we're deliberating in good faith, putting all these conditions in, Is it just a piece of paper that gets filed in the dead letter file? I mean, that's something, I guess, that we'd have to address with the administration. That's not am I correct? Right? That's not that's not a planning board issue.
Right.
But if we were going to make recommendations, I would think even the people who are drawing up ordinances ought to go back and look at the decisions that we've made with variances to see if there's.
Well, that's
Yeah.
provided for in the law. The zoning board is supposed to yearly send a memo to the governing body.
Okay.
That is a history of every application that was heard during the year, every application that was approved, and every application that was denied. And the governing body then is supposed to digest all that material and then make a determination of whether some ordinances should be changed. Because the overriding concept is that we're not supposed to be governing by variance, right? You're governed by ordinance. So technically, it's supposed to become more difficult if your next door neighbor got a pool and pools are not permitted, say. It's supposed to be more difficult for the next person to get a pool. It's not supposed to be easier based on precedent. It's supposed to be more difficult because the idea is if the governing body wants pools in that area, they would change the ordinance and allow pools. And you're not supposed to govern by variance. So if the governing body wants to change impervious coverage or accessory use coverage, this board keeps giving out variances for that. Well, it's supposed to be harder and harder because the governing body is supposed to have knowledge of what the zoning board is doing and then say, hey, you know what? The zoning board believes that 50% is appropriate, not 48%. We should change the ordinance. And then they tell the planning board to work on the ordinance. But that's, the interaction is we're supposed to be sending a memo yearly to the governing body, and the governing body is supposed to not just, file it, or, supposed to review it and then make suggestions to change ordinance.
So two things. One, I think two separate things is who is supposed to ensure that the conditions that we put in are done. So I don't know, before I took over, there's conformance with resolution. So when we get plans in, if we're making any changes, anything like that, when those plans come in, they have to be reviewed by me, and then they are signed off. I call Dan to come in and we sign off on them, or I'll sign off on them. If engineering has to look at them after, they go to engineering, they come back with a letter that gets attached, and engineering has looked and approved any of the conditions on the resolutions.
Well, part of the problem, and it doesn't reflect upon you, Kathleen, is that we've had a revolving group of zoning officers, okay? Yeah. We've also had a revolving group of engineers, and I think there's just been a drop-off, okay, in terms of continuity.
But what I'm saying is at this point,
you're going to be with us for a while.
Right, so we've corrected, I think we've made an effort to correct that wasn't happening.
Please don't take any of this as a reflection against you. Okay.
Rolls right off. The second point, just for your knowledge, is each month I have to give a report in. So what I have started to do was in the report that goes to the township administration and to the governing body is the cases and the results of those cases and the number of variances and what happens each month at the meetings. So that this way the governing body can see, first of all, even an address, this is what we approved, this is what it was for. So it's just, a very brief, but they do see now the number of variances.
Can you provide us with a copy of that information that you sent to them?
Sure.
Is that?
Yeah, no, I do it it's on a monthly basis now, and I do start to include that. I give them everything. They know the number of trees that are taken down. The extraordinary trees have to go to council. There were just a lot of things that weren't necessarily done before that are being done now. And I think that's when we've had some discussions about the number of meetings or the number of variances and applications that have come before you. We know that there were a lot that just were approved. So I'm going by ordinance. And that's why I think, the meetings have become longer and we just have more applications in because I am going by ordinance. So to your point, when we change certain things in the ordinance that maybe needs to be changed, then you don't need as many variances, you don't need as many applications to come to the board. And also the expense to the residents as well.
just feeling left out.
Okay, is there anything else that we need to discuss at this meeting? That wasn't bad. That was only 7 minutes.
Well, we didn't have a 4-hour application. I mean, you and I have had private conversations. I've been wanting to bring this up, but not at 12 o'clock at night.
Right.
So at least we had the opportunity.
That's when we have to take the
to have this
opportunity.
discussion now, because we don't have to sit here for another 2 hours, you know. and-
Upper vest or zips as the weather gets colder, we're not gonna get any for the board. What's the deal?
We have actually, in the past, requested jackets so that when you go to look at properties, they don't sick the dogs on you.
There's a budget somewhere.
And
What about a simple ID? I mean, it's a very salient point.
back in the dark ages, we had IDs that
Yeah.
said you were a zoning official.
Upper vest, you know. It's colder.
I'll get my Land's End catalog.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh, there's a man who's keeping his eye on the game. And not necessarily this game.
He's a Jets fan. I sympathize. I'm a Giant.
Okay, so,
Wait, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
Dee Dee just got her score, and she has passed her
oh,
statutory score. In December, and we can do a resolution in January.
finally.
Congratulations.
Great, thank you.
She lasted more than 3 months, people.
There you go. And neither of you are allowed to go anywhere for the first.
We don't have to call her secretary number 6 anymore. Okay.
Okay, I can adjourn.
Okay, folks, everybody have a very happy Thanksgiving, a very safe travels, and we'll look forward to seeing you back here in December.
And I couldn't. So that was great. Yeah, you were not.